What up, everybody? The life that you want is on the other side of your current view of yourself. Whatever your current self-image is, you need to make an identity switch. So today we want to break down what part of your story are you choosing to play. Woo-wee. This is an introduction into the 3 keys of establishing leads. Excuse me. And it's interesting because when we talk about business, most would think that this has nothing to do with business, but this is the foundation of business, because you can't have a business unless you got structured thought. And you can't have structured thought unless you can understand that thoughts come first. So if it doesn't happen in your mind, then it doesn't happen in your physical world. So physics is the result of mentalism. Mentalism is before physicalism. So today is Moon Day, Monday, October the 3rd of 2022. Time is a little bit after 12, after 2:30 Central. And as we prepare for tonight's message to get into the 3 keys of establishing leads, but we're going way, way deeper than leads, because what we're really, really talking about, because of business, is the ability for you to be able to basically what I call tune in. That means take people in. People just come to you. You're a magnet. So we're talking about, number 1, how to be magnetic. When they come to you, then you got to be able to have them listen to you, which is number 2. You got to be able to have them listen, which gives them to number 3. Then you can provide them with solutions. So those are the 3 keys to always having money, especially in this economy. Because I don't know if you know what's going on in the world today, but everybody's distracted because everybody is like stressed. Everybody's worried because, bills, like the wife went to the store and spent $800 on groceries. You should spend $200 on groceries. It's crazy because everybody is stressed the fuck out. Why? Well, it's hard out here for a pimp, homie. Well, we are conscious creators. You don't have to participate in that bullshitness unless you choose to. Well, we got a conundrum. Well, what's the conundrum? Well, you are identifying with the current narrative. Not you personally, but people you know. So right now you got a choice to make, boo-boo, and it's a tough one. Today, like, for the rest of this year, every show is going to be, damn. Do I join the narrative? In other words, do I accept the life that they gave me, or do I create one of my own? Now, if you decide to create a life of your own, you got a man to beef up. That just simply means that right now, as we are speaking, what if there was no units of measure? What if there was no such thing as a unit of measure? So what is that saying? Well, let's talk about relationships. Everybody, we like relationships. What if there was no unit of measure? A unit of measure is the agreed upon pattern. Marriage is a unit of measure. What if there was no such thing as marriage? Then all of your problems when it comes to relationship would go away. Every problem in a relationship, because you are expecting somebody to do something to you because you are in a relationship. Now, the terms of the relationship was established by the dominant culture. So they say way back in the day, African days, hey, if you had enough goats, shit, you can get as many wives as you want. Look at the biblical Old Testament story. King Solomon had 300 wives, 800 concubines. There was no such thing as jealousy. Well, what happened? Well, the belief system changed. So what if there was no unit of measure? So all problems come from your unit of measure. So you need to make a unit of measure switch. I mean, not you personally, but, because the life that you want is on the other side of your identity switch. Unfortunately. I was broke as fuck until I made an identity switch. And what did I do? got rid of my identity. What does that mean? I got rid of my unit of measure. What does that mean? I got rid of my definitions. What does that mean? I got rid of my beliefs. What does that mean? That means I questioned all of my beliefs. And I switched the beliefs that was no longer serving me. Because on the other side of my beliefs is success. Just like you. If you cannot be jealous, going back to relationships, you cannot be broke, talking about money, unless your unit of measure, your definition that defines rich and broke, change. So you can either stay broke or change your definitions of broke to include you at your current level as rich. When you do that, the brain says, fuck, we rich now. Let's get more riches. So your productivity goes out the fucking roof. Then you really become rich. So very few people understand consciousness creates reality. Because if you did, you would not have feelings like relationships. People commit suicide, they come home, they find that their man cheating with the neighbor, the man come home, the wife is sleeping with the brother. What happens? You got feelings. Why? What was you expecting? I was expecting my wife to be true to me. Why would you expect that? Who told you that? Who told you a piece of paper was some kind of way going to make somebody freaking loyal? If that shit ain't in their DNA, they're going to be fucking loyal. You get them all the paper you want. Paper don't stop punches. They don't stop bullets. You got a fucking towel? That doesn't mean shit to take your ass to the hood. They'll still put a bullet in your head. So we're walking around in a dream world. Most of us. And it's sad, but it's not sad because we have units of measure. In business, the unit of measure, what is the unit of measure for success in business? Well, my unit of measure for success in business is different from everyone else. That's why I'm successful, because my unit of measure, the way that I define success is different from everybody else. So I changed my definitions in life, because I realized that the life that you want is on the other side of your current view of yourself. So your current reality is preventing you, because you are somebody right now, so you can't be somebody tomorrow. So unless you let go of who you are being today, you cannot accept who you are tomorrow. Dr. Glenn Rain is a biophysicist in quantum biology. The reason I love Dr. Glenn is because his DNA research in quantum biology and the vocalization of the realization that creates, meaning the brain literally creates new neurons when you do an identity switch, which, medically speaking, you go to a therapist, you got an dissociative identity disorder. You are schizophrenia. If you are poor and you say, I am rich, remember my statement that changed my life. I am happy and I am grateful that I am wealthy, healthy, wise, and in a great relationship. While I didn't have none of that. So what is that? That's called lying where I'm from. So the Bible tells you to lie. The Bible calls it faith though. See, all you got to do is change your unit of measure. Change your definition. The same word that's called faith in the Bible, because faith is the substance of things hoped for. That means you don't fucking got it. And the evidence of things seen. That's what faith is. Faith is acting as if it's faking it. But you're not faking it because you literally lie to yourself until you believe yourself. But how do you do it though? Well, you got to use vocal imaging. Your voice got to create an image. And then the image materializes subatomic particles. So, my boy Dr. Glenn Rain proved this in a lab. And he proved that consciousness affects the quantum level, the subatomic level, the atomic level, the molecular level, and the structural level. Proven. Now, they've already done this, Dr. David Sinclair and other people at Harvard, Yale, and Princeton. So science is finally proving what I've been saying for 25 years. So tonight we start day one of our 7-day journey for the current class as we get into the science and the metaphysics of establishing what we call leads and making conversions. So in business, you don't have a business unless you are able to build a community. And you can't build a community or your tribe unless you got a specific vibe or energy. You can't establish a specific vibe, energy, or feeling or the field that restructures the DNA according to Dr. Glenn, Reen and Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Bruce Lipton. This is called epigenetics. So the ability for you to unlearn your habits and change the way that you make decisions. But the only way to do that is if you are able to think or manifest out of source energy instead of thinking and manifesting out of individual energy. What does that mean? Well, that means when I talk about this since I was a biological acceleration course that we completed a while back. That just simply means that we have an identity. That identity is a pattern that exists. But most people cannot recognize the pattern that exists, so they cannot change the pattern, because patterns are power. And we broke that down in the last show. So tonight we start day one where we're able to help people get clear. Then I'm going to show you what I do as a life coach. And I gave everybody there's 25 different types. That's more than that. But those are 25 major types of coaching. Remember, I'm not a therapist. And I'm not a psychic. I'm not a preacher. So I'm not a coach. Remember, we help facilitate growth and change, development. That's what a coach does. We are facilitators. And you're a facilitator. So my job is to help you unlearn your current habits and change your decision-making process so you can manifest out of source energy. Because why? Well, source energy is unlimited. Now, why would we want to manifest out of source energy? Why come we don't just manifest out of our own energy? Well, we already know that you cannot live a unlimited life using limited thoughts. Limited thoughts cannot manifest an unlimited life. So if you want to have infinite manifestation, you got to activate the crystal cathedral, like we talked about with the windows over in all of the buildings in Europe. The stained glass windows, they all emit a frequency. I talked about this out of my book, The Sound of Silence. So most people don't know that silence meditation, that means you're receiving a sound. They put in these instruments in an empty cathedral, especially the Cathedral of Notre Dame. And all of these ancient structures are actually energy centers. Not only do they receive energy, they also emit energy. So the science of a self-fulfilling prophecy, that's you. But the word self means flesh. The word fulfilling means full, F-U-L-L, of feelings, F-E-E-L-I-N-G. So you're full of feelings right now. But the feelings that you are full of right now are preventing you from being full of feelings of wealth, health, wisdom, and great relationships. So you cannot put new wine in an old wine skin. So unfortunately, the ether or the energy pattern is a self-perpetuating, self-reprogramming cycle. And so you don't have to make your incoming thoughts your outgoing thoughts. So incoming thoughts that are based upon reality, they have no effect on my outgoing thoughts that are based upon my spirituality. So I'm creating from God space, not my space. So in my brain, it's easy for my brain to say, because my brain is attached in 3D reality. But my spirit is not. My spirit is in 12 but my brain is in 3D. So if I create from 3D, I'm creating with limited thoughts. So limited thoughts cannot manifest an unlimited life. And so that's what the Bible means when it says the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. The harvest is plentiful because the harvest is source mind, but the laborers are laboring from thought mind. So you have thoughts, and you think those thoughts are you. They're not. The thoughts that come in, if you don't challenge them, as we talked about before, they become your beliefs. Any thought that is not challenged become a belief. So when a thought comes to my head that says, I don't have or I can't, I challenge that thought. When the thought comes to my head and say, man, I don't feel like doing it, I challenge that thought. Why? I don't want that thought to become my new pattern. And so now I'm activating the magnetite crystals inside of my blood and inside of my brain. So I'm able to gather. And once I gather, I can organize. And when I organize, I can distribute. Source thought instead of mind. And so now the electrical magnetic or the energy fields, because remember energy and fields are not the same. Energy is source. Field is feelings. So your feelings, as the Bible says, your thoughts are not like my thoughts. Your ways are not like my ways. So God is telling us that no matter what you're thinking, it's not fucking good enough. It's too low. It's 3D. Because that's what we are locked in 3D. So you got to stop manifesting and creating out of your thoughts. Your thoughts are great. So you sit down, and that's why they say, oh, all the gurus and meditation, you sit there, you imagine, you visualize. Whatever you're imagining, it's too small. So I don't use my imagination. I use God's. So I'm able to imagine shit that doesn't even fucking exist. And so I'm able to manifest things that and do the impossible. We just closed on $1 million house. It's not possible. I'm driving a $100,000 Corvette. It's not possible. I'm in a marriage that we don't agree upon. Our belief system is totally different. My wife is a Christian. I'm not a Christian. I don't even like Christians. So how does it work? Well, we both come from source code energy instead of out of 3D. Because in 3D, there is no chi. So don't make your incoming thoughts your belief system. If you do, you fucked. I mean, not you personally, but people you know. Now, you guys know I'm not the same dude I used to be. That same guy, the old master teacher 33 that you guys knew 3 months ago, I buried that fool in my backyard. He's dead. So, no, don't get me confused. I am not a dwarf idiot. I am not a cretin. So don't disrespect me by thinking that I'm a preacher or I'm a Christian or I got a belief system that is similar to yours or somebody that you know. I don't have those. Remember, all my belief systems are gone. That's why I'm able to create from source. All problems come from a belief that establishes an expectation that is unrealistic. Remember, you are dopamine dumping on yourself. We did that class already. Everybody has an unhealthy, unsustainable dopamine dumping baseline. So your dopamine baseline, your biological dopamine baseline, according to the science, fuck religion, the science is proving. That's why I'm happy that Harvard and Yale is coming out with all of these studies. Because now I can go hard in the paint, don't give a fuck what nobody said because I got proof. I have to wait for the proof, but now it's here. And now the proof is here, I just point people to the studies, like the study that I'm talking about today. So the study I'm talking about today proves that you are a high-powered vacuum tube that is emitting what is called by some a macro wave. That's how they make microwaves. So the studies prove that you are what is called a cavity magnetron, which simply means that you are a resonant cavity or a resonant chamber. All you do, sound comes in and you resound it based upon your belief. Source code is sending you unlimited power. You say, fuck you, God. I'm limited. I can only make $12 an hour. I don't give a fuck what you say. So God says you are healthy. Every bone, you are eternal. You cannot die. You say, fuck that. I'm going to reprogram my telomeres to die because I'm going to celebrate a ritual called a birthday. And because I'm celebrating decay, my cells are going to say, okay, we got to decay because this fool is celebrating death. And we say, hey, nothing is permanent and real except death and taxes. So you're telling 7 billion, some say 100 billion, depending on who you talk to. You got 100 billion people inside of your body that's taking orders from you. And you telling them, shit, we age. Okay, what does that mean? Your cells are saying, okay, we age. Okay, that means we get older. We're going to celebrate getting older. The cells like, we don't fucking get older. We renew. Every bone, everything in your body renews itself. The oldest thing, I think, is the bone. It's like 7 years. You get brand new, everything. You get everything brand new. So it's not biologically possible for you to fucking die. The cell is immortal. Unless you reprogram, you resound. It's called resonant chambering. You are resounding the sound. Source code is sending you wealth. You say, fuck that, I want to be broke. So you say, my belief system is poverty is next to godliness. So I want to be poor. So your God says, hey, it is done unto you and you believe. So everything that you want is on the other side of your current self-image. I don't give a fuck what it is. It ain't good enough because you do not have, I don't need it. That's why I'm doing a class tonight. Why are we doing a class? We got to change your fucking self-image. Why we got to change your self-image? Well, I don't know if y'all know what's going on in the economy. Them good old boys, they got a plan for you. They want to wipe out all of the systems. That's why it's called the New World Order. In order to establish the New World, we got to fuck up the old one. So that's what they're doing right now. And they're doing a damn good job. Them good old boys, all systems of distribution. What just happened in Florida wiped out all of the fertilizers for the country. So y'all think this shit is weaponized, man. Weather is weaponized. So why Florida? Well, come to find out, 60-80% of the world's fertilizing companies are in Florida. Just the part of Florida that just don't fucking happen to get hit by Hurricane Alvin or Iran or whatever it is. How the fuck that happens? Well, that's not a study for another time, Doc. Stick to the script. Well, we have something called precursor genes. That's another study for another time as well. But you need to understand that it's called pre. It's like you were programmed. So quantum physics of consciousness talks about the principle of meta-neta. It's a Egyptian or hermeneutic law that breaks down the one power. Unfortunately, there is a plethora of perceived powers called units of measure. These units of measure are called definitions or systems or clocks. We don't have time, but we do have clocks. Time doesn't fucking exist. Clocks do. Just because you got clock, that doesn't make time. But the dominant culture says time exists. You can go to Ethiopia right now. Ethiopia, I think they said 7 years behind us. How the fuck is that happening? You can go to Antarctica, there's an ice wall. There's land over there, supposedly by edible birds. A whole bunch of there's whole nother domes over there. Nobody knows what's over there. Why? Because you get shot if you go over there. Nobody's talking about it. Why? Nobody gives up. Because we are programmed not to give up. We focus on the Kardashians because that's the shit they put in front of us every day. Look at the music we got. Okay, Doc, I need you to get to the point, brother. I gotta go watch Love and Hip Hop. Okay, I got you. So let's break this down. Since the only thing that matters is thought, we don't know where thought comes from. It just shows up in your head. Now, we can break it down, but for the sake of today's study, because that's a whole other rabbit trail. Let's just say we don't know this. You listen to me, and a thought comes in your head and says, shit, I'm hungry. Where did it come from? And how did you hear it? So the thought comes in your head that says, hurry up, Doc, get to the fucking point. Or, shit, what time is it? Or, I'm late for work. Thoughts, they just come and go. These thoughts are divided up into three categories: past, present, and future. Past thoughts are called materialized thoughts. Why? It already materialized. So I can think about my past. I can go back and remember when my daughter Shamura transitioned and died on June the 30th. I can remember that 2019 at 9:30 at night. How do I remember? How do I read? Remember, the word read means to return. Mem means a biological transmission of the genes. Science states there is no memories stored in your brain. Where the fuck are they at then? There's no memories. You can't go in and cut your brain open and find memories in there. So where are your memories stored? They ain't stored in your head. In fact, where is information stored? It's not in your DNA, like science tells us. It's in something called the astral records. That's what some people call it. Some people call it the ether, the etheric realm. So all we know is something or someone is sending unlimited information. You are a receiver. That's why you got a spiritual antenna called a spinal cord. But that's another subject for another time too. So now that we know that we are resonant chambers, we are sound. Sound comes in, we redistribute it, we dumb it down so that it's palatable and fits into our reticular activating system, called the first brain. Anything that I'm saying today that doesn't fit means you haven't previously heard it, researched it, you're going to fucking reject it. Why? Well, that's the law. Because the brain can receive, according to Harvard, 200,000 bits of information per second. But it can only store and process 2,000. Let me see what I just said. 200,000 is dumbed down to 2,000. It's like 200, but you can only take in 2. So if I say 2, you're listening, or you're picking up 200 bits of information, but only 2 pieces of information you can actually process. So it's not what is being said or what you see, it's only what has been absorbed. It's the same thing with nutrition. You can fucking eat healthy all day. But if your gut bacteria life, you can't absorb. Like really, water dilutes the acid in the stomach that limits the absorption of the minerals. So really, we should get and drink H3O, not H2O. And H3O only comes from fruits and some vegetables. And we also get water out of air. Remember, I tell you guys, again, the Harvard study. So what I've been doing, I'll tell you guys, I've been doing it for a long time, because what's the point? The point is we got a belief. What's the belief? The belief is you got to drink a gallon of water a day, like I used to. Well, you're just fucking up your body's ability to absorb whatever the fuck you eat. The body can absorb it now, because you neutralizing the acid in your stomach. But so the dominant culture has taught us, and we have not examined and questioned. So I've questioned the nature of everything. Like marriage doesn't exist. Now it exists because I'm married. But I stay married because it's a belief system that is held by my wife. And I respect, because I can't force my beliefs on other people. But I ground my beliefs in something called universal spiritual law. Because all problems in most people's lives comes from the unit of measure. You got a fucked up way of defining it because it was given to you. You didn't create it, did you? Did you create time? Did you create the Greco-Roman calendar? Were you back in 325 AD and combined a bunch of paganism and a bunch of other stuff to come up with a brand new system called Christos that was taken from the Essenes and the Nazarenes? Did you change his name to Jesus? Did you add the J? No. But you got it. So even though I can prove, I got $100,000, I've been saying it for 20 years, that I can prove your religion is fucked up. Oh, not fucked up, but it's whack. So what does that do? Well, unfortunately, that stops your inner God, your inner chi. So your aura is controlled by the prince over the power that's inside of the air called the vacuum. That gets me back to what we talked about a few days ago, which I'll be breaking down further tonight. My boy, Tom Bearden, wrote a book called The Vacuum, Unlimited Energy Out of the Vacuum. So out of thin air, he powers his whole house. Out of thin fucking air. So there's no reason why you paying an electric bill, why you paying a water bill. We all do it. What's the point, Doc? What's the point? Those are systems of control. They're patterns, and patterns are power. Your job is to be a conscious creator of the life that you want to live. That means you got to write your own script. So that means you don't go to battle and go to war with the government. You don't go out and debate people and, cause havoc. Why would you do that? Everybody has free will. So I'm not trying to convert my wife. That's her belief. It doesn't affect me at all. Some people would think it does. The only way it can affect me is if I change my self-image, how I view myself. Do I view myself as a Christian? No. Why not? It doesn't pay my bills. Now, if it paid my bills, if life was good, okay, maybe I will go back. But I already tried it for 40 years, and it didn't work. Now, you should say that everybody telling me. I know a lot of people who's Christians in their life, and it works great. Really? Talk to their wife. Talk to the kids. Talk to my kids. They'll tell you the truth, not King James Version. So consciousness allows us to do something. If we can get past our current identity. That's called the negative habit pattern. So the life management system has been in existence since I started it. And that's my bread and butter. Why? Those 7 modules, 1 out of 100 people can literally process it and get through it. 1 out of 100 people can maybe get through the life management system. Most people get bogged down in module 1, current habit pattern. Because remember, all billionaires, they do one thing. They are pattern recognition specialists. So again, what if there was no patterns? What if there was no letters? And what if there was no numbers? I think I would really stop. And this is difficult because we all know what to think, but most of us have not been trained how to think, how to investigatively examine and analyze information. It's the hardest thing in the world to do is to think for oneself. It's hard because if you were to think for oneself, you would see that, damn, I really don't know shit because everything I know comes from letters and numbers. But letters and numbers don't exist. It's just made up. So who made up this emanation, that symbol? Who developed runes? Who came up with runic magic? Who developed sigils? Who created signets? Who created seals? S-E-A-L-S. Not the animal. Who sealed your soul with a hot iron? Who gave you your whole reality? Now, if you were to, and you have the capacity, otherwise you wouldn't be here. Tonight we start breaking down what's called a life force cycle map. We get into something called harmonic inclusiveness of charge density. This is Dan Winter's works on the physics of bliss, which is where I'm at. So I'm in a state of bliss. Regardless, I just heard this morning some very, very bad news. And a very, very close family member. Other than death, this is the worst news that you could get. Just happened this morning. Other than death, this is the worst thing you could hear. And everybody's in grieving and mourning. And I think I cried for about 10 seconds. And because I have God's viewpoint, a thought said, what the fuck are you doing? A thought, because I was drifting back. And the thought said, do you want to be fucking poor? Don't fall for the distraction. What is your mantra? I am happy. For what happy means make shit happen. You cannot be happy unless you personally make shit happen. Not your husband, not your children, not the maid, you. You don't get the fuck up and make something happen, you're going to be fucking sad. So the news I heard, 10 seconds made me sad. But my brain said, you want to go back? You barely passed the test with when your daughter died. You passed it, but you got to fucking C. You need to get an A. So this time, the thought said, what the fuck are you doing? I don't got no safety net. You got a rich uncle that you can call? If I don't make shit happen, what happened to my $1 million house I'm in? That $100,000, I got 4 cars in the driveway. They don't pay themselves. So either I'm going to fall for the roki dope and go back to Egypt, or I'm going to stay in heaven, which is a high vibration. Because as we've already proved with the previous messages that led up to this, that according to science, if the brain that is the vibrational equivalent of God, 963, it cannot be affected by vibrations of men. So I don't give a fuck what Elon Musk does. Neuralink can't fuck with me. So even if the sound spread spectrum is piped into my brain by the dominant culture, it's not going to fucking work because my aura is emitting way more frequency at a higher level than that destined men. Because so far they don't have the technology to match the frequency that comes out of the throne. Remember, we already broke that down. It's called Polaris. P-O-R, the North Star, the upper expanse of the North, where Lucifer said he wanted to go. Lucifer said, I want to be like the Most High. So if you don't got the most high frequency, you're fucked. Not you personally, of course, but if you know. That's why I'm not a Christian. I can't be, because I'm at the highest frequency on the planet. It's not because all the frequencies on the planet is trumped by source. So I don't think like a human. I already didn't fucking work. So now I think like a god. So I don't pray to God, I pray as God. They don't preach that shit at your church. You can't declare and decree. You can't call those things that are not as though they were. You can't say to that mountain, get the fuck up out the way and it got to go. You can't walk through the valley of shadow and death and fear no evil. You can't trample on snakes and scorpions and all power of the enemy and nothing shall by no means harm you. Why worry about what you shall eat and what you shall drink? Do you not know that your heavenly Father knows you have need of these things? Why are you groveling? Why are you asking and begging like you're a fucking peasant? Do you know that you are the offspring of God? Do you know that you are an individual person of God or not? No, you can't know. There's no way. Because you would be on your fucking knees begging. You would be walking around and commanding. You would say, peace, be still. The fucking wind would stop blowing. Else, you have the mind of Christ. Let this mind be in you. But your preacher, you only get that if you pay your tithe and offering. Otherwise, you're going to hell, bro. Fear. The Bible says perfect love says, fuck you, fear. That's the W. Rogers version. See, perfect love casts out fear. Only perfection can be expressed. That's why you can't express yourself. Not you personally, but people, you can't go on Facebook and do 10 videos a day. Why? You're not perfect. In your head, well, doctor, my makeup, my hair, I'm not perfect. See, the Bible says, be ye perfect as your Father. So my perfection comes from source. I don't got to be perfect. I just connect with perfection. So no, my thoughts, I don't give a fuck what I think. I tell myself every day, my back started hurting back, what the fuck are you doing? You don't even exist. Get your ass in line with source code. There's a whole other code, but you got another code. So your success is on the other side of your identity switch. So you got to make an identity switch, which is what we're breaking down tonight. Because right now, the identity you got is great, but it's not based upon self-observation, self-awareness, and self-consciousness. So we don't have self-reverence. Oh, we reverence the reverend, the doctor, and the bishop, but we say, fuck the self. How do I know? Well, you don't love the self. Oh, how do you know I don't love myself? Well, look how you treat yourself. You think more about your children, your husband, and your job more than you do yourself. Me? Shit, I think about myself all day, every day, 24/7, 365. And I got 5 kids, 4 that's still virtually here. I got 2 bonus kids, and umpteen thousands, cousins and nephews. I don't think about none of them much. That doesn't mean I don't like them. I just see my own worth and value now. Now, it took me 50 years to get to this point of self-reverence. We already broke down the word reverence. If you look at the word reverence, man, it'll fuck you. It'll fuck up your whole world. Because you're realizing, what you'll realize, that you've been lying to yourself. Why? Shit, your husband come home, honey, where's my plate? And you scrambling over here, falling over yourself, running to the kitchen. Tell him it's in the fucking kitchen, get it yourself. But you can't do that, ladies. Why? The culture told you you're supposed to be servant. What does the word reverence mean? The same thing happens when you see the Pope. You get on your knees and you kiss his ring finger. The fuck I am. So I'm not going to go around the Pope. Because I don't want to disrespect the Pope. No disrespect. So then, Mr. Rogers, you can go visit the Vatican. Is the Pope going to be there? I just want access to the libraries under the Vatican. Because the rumor has it, it's like freaking 2 or 3 miles of shit underneath the Vatican libraries that no human eye has seen. Can I get access to that? Fuck the Pope. I want access to the library. I ain't going to the White House. They can invite me to the White House right now. They don't have protocol to go to the White House. Do I respect Joe Biden and the White House to abide by their protocol? Fuck no. So I ain't taking my black ass to the White House. Thank you very much. So what does that mean though? Reverence, man. I fucking respect myself. So I'm not going to put myself in a position of failure. So how the hell are you going to put yourself in a space where you subservient to some other mother? I don't care who it is. Your mama, your daddy, dad, I love you, but you got to fucking go, man. It's my house, dog. My son come over here, y'all know I go to BJ's house, he start acting up. BJ, I'm out, bro. Tell the grandkids, y'all come to my house. But your daddy, if he starts drinking, I'm going to punch him in his fucking face. Because he started talking stupid. So my kids know. See, I don't play. Why? I love me. And now it took me 50 years to get here, Brother Joseph. 50 years. So now that I'm here, I ain't fucking going back, bro. So I highly recommend it because once you start to love yourself, the whole world changes. Then people start loving you because they see you loving you. So no, if I got a workout planned, I'm not going to stop my workout at 8 because you called and you got an emergency. You figure it the fuck out. Or I'll call you back when I finish my workout. Do you do that? Nah, man. Your kids call you, you freaking the whole world, everything stops. That's an indication that you don't love yourself. Now I know that's the culture. We're taught that by the dominant culture. So you need to dominate the dominant. But you're thinking though. That's where everything starts. How do I know? Well, science and physics talk about an abundant being. They say that any time there's an abundance of thought, excuse me, that attracts an abundant thought. So you can have an abundance of nothing. Poverty is an abundance. There's no such thing as lack. Poverty is an abundance of nothing. It's still abundance though. Being stupid is an abundance of ignoring facts. You're still stupid, but it's the fact that you have chosen to ignore. It's there. You choose to live without it. Poverty is your choice. You are choosing to live without the thought that generates abundance. Sickness is a choice. You're choosing to live without. There is a frequency. Dr. Warren Raymond Rice broke this down, 1700? Jethro Klaus before that. Shit, we can keep going backwards or we can go forward. Dr. Sabi. That's pretty much a plant that cures just about everything. We can get into holistic thinking, but we got a belief system that says that the reverend, the doctor, or the bishop holds more power than me. So I don't have self-reverence. I have doctor, bishop reverence because they got a title. Once you get self-reverence, then you get self-knowledge. When you get self-knowledge, then you get self-control over your own human, even though we're not human energy field. According to science, once you establish that, you activate something called the longevity gene. That's where, autophagy kicks in. That's where you're able to get into reversing the age process. Because now you start to remove the thing that causes this, which is emotional insecurity. So you stop expressing, giving away energy that should go back into the ocean. EM ocean, electrical magnetic ocean. So you giving your energy to TD Jakes and Dollar, so you age. So when Dracula sucks your blood, he stays young and you age because the life of the flesh is in the blood. So the whole story about Lord Impeller is about energy emission. Healthy, sustainable energy emission. Your job is to funnel your energy expression into healthy and sustainable expression. A healthy and sustainable expression is what I call purpose. So purpose-based production is what we're talking about later on tonight. Why? Well, we all are vibratory, energetic, sound beings. Excuse me. As a vibratory, energetic sound being, you're here to draw or gather people together that are like-minded so that way you can share or teach to help them get results. Those are the three keys we'll be breaking down tonight. So that way you can be and establish what I call busyness. So a business, it simply means I'm busy, man. I can't come down off the mountain. So somebody say, hey, let's go over here and go to the strip club. Make it rain. Well, I can't do that, bro. Or let's go rob a bank. And so morality is easy. So I don't need a book to tell me because I got a business. I'm busy. I'm busy pursuing purpose. So I'm gathering, organizing, distributing the in form, that source code. He went in and created a form. That's called my life optimization circle. So my form is 336-123-123-549. That's the 12, around 12 that's inside of my cup, my church. That allows me to generate, operate, and direct my chi. So the life that I had, I switched. I changed my identity. And that's what I called myself, Master Teacher 33. Before that, hey, I was just Will. Before that, I was William. Before that, I was Willie. Before that, I was Edmund. So depending on, so I went through different identity changes to match the same way God changed people's names in the Bible when their identity their destiny, their career changed. Now, do you have to physically change your name? Absolutely not. You need to change how you see yourself, your self-image, which we break that down tonight. So you got to unlearn your current habits and you got to change the way that you make your decisions. Why? You can't manifest out of your thoughts. You've proven to yourself that your thoughts, no matter how grandiose they are, they're not believable by source. So since source written or placed himself inside of you, inside of a frequency called 10565, Yah-He-Vah-He. Now, really, we have the case of the missing shin, as we talked about before, Yah-He-Shin-Vah-He, 105-965. But that's not study for the time. But according to science, that changes the stream of consciousness. Because the universe is based upon mathematical principle, not religious beliefs. So it's the unification of quantum biology with the synchronicity or what they call the synchronic lines, which are ley lines in the body. This is the physics of the cosmology. This is quantum biology. So this is the divine spark. So the energy that activates your consciousness has crystalline structure, not melanin. So crystals that are lying dormant in your blood are activated when the sound matches 10565. Now remember, once you get the jab, the frequency baseline changes to 1056665 according to science. Just do the research. Watch TikTok videos. So they are restructuring your DNA. So that way, at the last sound, nothing happens. Because you can't respond. Not you personally, of course, but people you know. That's the whole point of the jab, is to restructure the DNA. So now you have a genetically modified, or you are a genetically modified identity. Okay, I can patent that. I can own you. That's what I mean by your DNA doesn't respond to hydrogel and the quantum dot tattoo and all of the synthetic, black goo that they are injecting into you. Well, it's still not going to work because your DNA is making a sound. Source code is inside of you, operating as you, manifesting him, her, itself through you. It's so powerful. There's no weapon formed. No weapon formed. No weapon formed against you can prosper. All who rise up against you shall fall. Because of 10565. That's inside of the DNA. So you got to activate. How do you activate it? Thoughts. So thought first. So if it doesn't happen in the mind, it doesn't happen in physics. The mind controls the desire. This is what Dr. Glenn, Rain was talking about. So as we go through the next 7 days, even though we're talking about it from a business applicable perspective, we're talking about metaphysics that is applicable. Why? Because like me, you have a light bill. You have a phone bill. You may want to be in a position to take care of your family. Maybe you're like me, I'm looking at going through different companies to purchase a 4-year solar generator. 4 years. Once it's completely charged, you can run your entire house with no sun, nothing for 4 years. Why? Well, what happens if something happens to the grid? If nothing happens to the grid, no problem. I'm going to spend the money anyway. But remember, it's not even what you got. You can stack up food, do all that stuff. It's what can you keep. So not only did I got that, I got something called that most people don't like, especially, most people now just buying the current narrative. Well, I got a lot of guns. Because I already know I've been in the hood where people come and break into your house and take your shit. Why? You can't keep it. Why? You're not a threat. But if you're female. That's why patriarchal societies usually dominate matriarchal. Because men physically can go into a woman's house, smack them around, and take their shit. Now, you should be saying, well, she says Amazon, women dark history, blah, blah, blah. That is true. But for every matriarchal society that was successful, there is 100 patriarchal because of something called genetics. Are there exceptions to every rule? Absolutely. But what is the point? The point is you want to put yourself, as I said earlier, in the best position for you and your family. So we know that you can't live in a past. Why? Past is materialized thoughts. They have somebody already conceived a thought. The thought created a feeling. The feeling became so strong, somebody got up off the sofa and they took an action and they produced a result. That is a materialized thought. Everything in the past is a materialized thought. You can live there if you want. But it's already materialized, past tense. A lot of people live in the past. So they're not productive in the future. Because all they think about is old material. They can't create new material. Then that's not bad, good, or indifferent. It is what it is. Some people live in the present. Present means I'm in the process. I have a process. I have a routine. I have a daily pattern. I have a process of materializing thought. Somebody should write that down. So tonight, I give you my process of taking my fucking thoughts that come from source. Because I like my thoughts, but they change. Every thought I I manifested it. After I manifested it, yeah, I didn't like it. So I like my desires. But my desires, well, they change. They're not constant, like my purpose. So I don't pursue desire, I pursue design. Now, to each his own. You do you, I do me. I've always said, because I've been on the planet for a while. And in my 60 plus years on this planet, I've realized, with my real eyes, that I lie to myself. That's called a unit of measure. That's called a belief system. So when I was a Christian, I believed that I was, tears rolled down my cheek. If you'd have said something negative about Jesus Christ, I probably would have stabbed you. In the name of Jesus. And watch you bleed out in Jesus' name. And then I'd have prayed for you that that your soul would go up yonder. Christians are the most dangerous people on the planet because they have beliefs that are not founded in fact. So your job is to not to attack you. Everybody can be me. You be anything you want. Some people are atheists. Some people are KKK members. There are people who believe that, white people are superior. I'm not trying to say, man, maybe they are. I don't care. That don't put no money in my pocket. My skin just happens to be of a darker hue. Well, there's people, Black Panther members, they believe that's a darker hue. They believe that melanin is God. Well, I've been there, done that too. I don't believe that anymore. I know that crystals are God. Because crystals are in the blood. Everybody got those. The life of the flesh is in the blood. And biology proves something happens when you activate the crystals in the blood. That activates what is called a magnetite. It makes you magnetic. And what happens when you become magnetic? Well, a magnet draws things. So I don't have to get rich, I draw rich. I'm magnetized. So now I teach others how to magnetize themselves. Why would I do that? Well, that's how you get attention. Would you break it down tonight? So I can't be broke. Why? I'm a magnet. For what? People who are at where I used to be. There are hundreds of thousands of people that still in basic Christianity. And as the culture keeps destroying the things that allow them to exist, they're going to start questioning the nature of their reality. Then that's why YouTube is deleting all my old content, not the new stuff. Everything that's 2-3 years old, 3 YouTube channels has been shut down. I'm on my 4th YouTube channel. I make a new one, it stays up for like 6 months or so, and then bam, they shut it down. Why? Well, what am I talking about? How come they don't shut down your preacher's YouTube channel? Have you ever asked yourself that? Excuse me? Why am I always in Facebook jail? Because what am I talking about? But I talk about stuff like hydro jail. But they don't want you to know that. They want you to know something about like black goo. They don't want you to know what I just said. Well, what did I just say? Well, I just said that the present means if you live in the present, you can solve problems. Why? Because you can process thoughts until they materialize. What does that mean? So science has proven that the universe only responds to structured thought. It doesn't just respond to thought. In other words, you can have a thought, that doesn't mean shit. You just have a thought. I feel great, okay? What does that do? It doesn't change anything. So you gotta actually do something called gene splicing, gene sequencing, gene amplification, or DNA. The same way that they do with CRISPR-9. So you are nothing but a script. So I need to change your script. How? Well, signs, symbols, stories, sayings, seance, science. A seance is a saying, and a saying is not science. So my science is the cheat codes that I'll be breaking down tonight. That the dominant culture know, they call that shit radionics. They also call it, my boy Albert Abrams came up with the, those Giovanni numbers or whatever the hell it's called. So they got technology. But I am the technology. So I don't need no fucking machine, but I am the machine. So when you're able to structure, how? By removing your identity. Now I'm not saying, just get rid of age and who you got. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what's stopping your cranial nerves. Wrong verse. So you change the verse. Because we all are suffering from rules. We follow R-U-L-E. Where do they come from though? Rituals. Where do rituals come from? Runes. So this is runic magic. Go back to the Nordic. Go back to Scandinavia. And you will find the source of your disembodiment. Now, do you have to do all of that? Absolutely not. I'll be honest for you. All you got to do is understand that if you live in the present, that means you got to process right now today. Because everybody has a system in place that can generate capital. What is capital? Capital is a medium of exchange. In other words, I'm not going to take my money out of my pocket unless what you're telling me is worth more than my money. Now, I like my money. So you got to tell me some really good shit. Like, can you cure male pattern baldness? If you can cure male pattern baldness, I can grow back my afro. Like I did in high school, walk around and look like one of the Jackson 5. So, you can't solve male pattern baldness. Okay, I'm going to keep my money in my pocket. You're going to say, well, shit, doc, I need money because I got to pay my light bill. Well, you can't solve my problem. So, if you can't solve problems, you're going to be broke. So, the question is, I'm asking you today is, what problems can you solve for the dominant culture? Why? Because they got the money. And you need the money to go give it to the grocery store to get a loaf of bread. Or get some potatoes. Or you can grow the shit in your backyard. Then you can start bartering. Barter. But what's the point? Present means I can have a thought and I can bring the thought into material. I can manifest. That thought becomes a material object and it's walking around. Or it's on somebody's shelf. Or you can live in the future. Now remember, the past is materialized thoughts that have already came into existence that used to be in somebody else's brain. Everything that exists started out as an idea. That's the past. The present is I got an idea, I'm gonna bring that shit into reality. The future is you have a concept. You have conceived the thought, but you have not developed the process. So tonight we get to go into the future. We start a 7-day process of going into the future. And we're going to conceive some thoughts over the next 7 days. And then we're going to develop a process by which that thought, maybe, let's say you want to be a dating coach. Not a marriage, dating. Why? Did y'all talk to? I said, my bonus kids, I talked to them, and it's like, hold up, I think I just saw, I'm talking to them, it's fascinating. So my daughter is talking to a guy, but they're not dating. I said, I'm not dating? No, but they been talking to each other for, over a year. They do everything that me and my wife do. They get in arguments, they get in fight, they hang up on each other, they call each other all day, they're on the phone, they fall asleep, you hang up, no, you hang up, no, you hang up. All the stuff that we did in high school, y'all remember that? They're doing everything that when I was a kid, we called that, very old school, I'm old school. We used to call that courting. Y'all remember that? Some of y'all youngsters don't know about courting. Well, we call it dating. Well, these youngsters now, it's a I forgot the term that they're using. So they're not in a relationship. So he's free to date, and then my daughter's pissed off. And then she just went on a date with another guy, which wasn't a date. They went to a basketball game together. And she told the guy that she's not in a relationship with that she's going to a basketball game since they're not in a relationship. Well, he hung up on her, got pissed off, cursed her out. And I'm saying to myself, like, Janai, you don't see that just because you don't label something doesn't mean it doesn't fucking exist. Like the kids coming up, this shit is crazy. I'm gonna get my popcorn and I'm watching it. Because the way that the world is going with the next generation, just make sure they're not taking care of your ass if you're in a nursing home. Because they're going to be too busy on their telephone. You over there choking on a chicken bone and you just going to, shit, you on your own. What's the point? What's the point? Well, the thoughts that they're conceiving, they're not materializing. In other words, they do everything at the end of it, the relationship never materializes. They don't finish a process. It stays in the future because they say, we don't want to put a label on it. We don't want to call it anything. Well, we live in a world where when you define it, you departmentalize it. That's good for identification purposes. Because maybe I want to literally have a physical car. I don't want no fucking Corvette in the metaverse. I ain't trying to go into the metaverse, put on no goggles and drive around. Trying to get the feeling but not have the car. Do y'all see where we're going? We're going to a place where they want to remove 3D and have you live in a place where you have the feeling without actually engaging in the act. No, I don't want to feel like I'm having sex. Thank you. I literally want to have sex. But because the next generation, they've never really had the physical, they really honestly think the fake feeling, having sex with a fucking robot, is better than having sex in real life. That's where we're going. Unless there's enough of you folks on this call to say, no, I'm gonna be a dating coach. I'm gonna tell all you little young knuckleheads that, nah, bro. You're not all of these dudes that are trans, this, that, and other. No. Take your pants off. If you got 2 click-clacks and a cane, you're a boy. Just because you don't want to label yourself, you don't want to be gender specific, you want to be gender neutral, that's cool. But as far as biology is concerned, you got two click-clacks and a pole. If you got two click-clacks and a lane, you're a girl. But the dominant culture, people with PhDs is saying, these fools are educated. There's people with PhDs that's promoting this stuff. I can't make this up. So what's the point of this? Well, on the quantum level, because the universe only responds to a made-up mind. So what they're doing is they fucking themselves. How? God don't do binary trends. The universe only responds to a made-up mind. So if I can get you to be lukewarm, you ain't hot, and you not cold. What does Scripture say? So we got a whole generation that's going to be spit out because they can't fucking make up their mind. Are you in a relationship or not? No, we're not in a relationship. We don't put a label on it. Okay, you don't get none of the benefits of putting a label on it. So I just put labels on the shit that I want to manifest. Why would I put a label on poverty? Why would I do that? Why do I want more? Poverty. So no, thank you. I'm not going to put no energy. I'm not going to look at it. I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to put no energy into it. Why? I'm putting a label on wealth, bruh. Health, wisdom, great relationships. I'm labeling that. So I'm conceiving thoughts of wealth that have not yet materialized, but I'm going to develop a process of materializing that thought. So I'm going to bring the future into the present and manifest that motherfucker. That's what I do every day. I go into the future and say, what do I want in the future? And I bring that shit to the present and fucking develop a system. So tonight we start developing fucking systems. So you can manifest thoughts of shit that don't exist and bring it into this 3D reality. That's how you get paid. That's the business. So make sure that you guys join me tonight. Class, we're going to pop it off. Probably be a little bit earlier tonight. It was an early class. Probably about 7, because we usually do like 8 or 9, so maybe an early class. Unless, if you guys got a preference, let me know. If y'all want to, all the people that have paid already, if you haven't paid, just go to the website, make the payment, $199 or $249, depending on if you are a member or not. And we'll see you guys later on tonight. I love you. There ain't nothing you can do about it. God bless.